Yo, what's up? We back again. Had to change the name from uh Run TMC because just in case we blow up, we don't want to have to change the name. So we had to change the name to Next Man Up Chicago Sports Talk with my boy Marcus, which I'm bringing in right now. What's good, Marcus? How you doing?
Couldn't be better. I'm
Well,
just gonna keep it real with you, man. Couldn't be better.
and I got my boy Tim that's in the building too. Wait, I'm bringing him in right now. What's up, Tim? What's going on with you?
Nothing, man. How you guys doing today?
Man,
How you doing,
it's a,
bro?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be much to talk about, but then everything started coming up all at once. So we got quite a few things to talk about. Let me shut this down just a tad bit. We gotta we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna start off with the Sox baseball news and things like that with the Sox. We also gonna talk about the Bulls ended their season yesterday. And we're also going to talk about the Bears rookie training camp. We'll talk about the Bulls with Tony Kukoc going to the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about Bradley Beal, rumors to be targeted for the Bulls in the offseason. But first, we're going to kick it off with baseball. We're going to talk about the White Sox. They playing pretty good. And I either even bought a hat. I bought a Chicago White Sox hat. Maybe just to piss Marcus off, but I did it. Well,
I
Marcus,
don't,
go ahead.
knowing you, it could be because the hip hop thing, as you say, all the rappers and all those guys. It was just the hip hop culture, not necessarily that you're a fan. So I don't know, but if you're trying to get on our bus, there is no room for you. We are not letting you guys on. It's
Man,
just
I
that
sneak.
simple.
Man, you know how I do. I sneak on the bus in the CTA. I do that. I do those things right on the back of the bus without even paying. You know what I'm
we
saying?
go we gonna put somebody at that back door so you can't get on, man. No.
Man, you know
But
how we used to do when we used to ride on the back of the bus, like hang on.
exactly. Those are criminal activities, by the way. But
We don't
um,
encourage that, but we go ahead with it.
I
But
know,
what's
right?
going on? What's going on with the Sox, man? Give us an insight. What's going on with your Sox?
Well, they're down, but they're definitely not out. I mean, no Luis Robert, no Adam Engel, no Eloy Jimenez, and for this series, no MVP Jose Abreu. But yet they're still moving right along, and this is really speaking to the depth. Even right now, in the bottom of the second inning, they're in Minnesota, up 3-0. Now I know the Minnesota is literally the worst team in the league as they are playing. On paper, they should not be. They've also had some injuries, and pitching has been crap. The team can turn it on it in time, but for us to uh, turn that corner and emphatically claim the division early on by sweeping the Minnesota Twins. For me, it's reminiscent, and although we're not this far along yet, it's reminiscent of when the Bulls finally beat Detroit 4 games in 1991. It says that, okay, we are here. We're going to be here for some years. We're not going anywhere. We're young and we're brash. That means that we're going to beat you and we're going to let you know. And what's going on, what you're saying now is the changing of the guard. You're seeing the youth, everything that they've done over the last 3-4 years. And I hate to say it, I mean the Cubs went through this, and I say I hate to say it because it's a fun rivalry.
Yeah.
The Cubs went through this 2013, 14, 15, and then finally breaking through in 16. That's just how baseball is. That's the fun part about baseball. You get to break down a team to scratch, and you get to witness the rebuilding of it by getting young kids and then watching them grow. Cubs did it, and now the White Sox are doing it, and they're 24-15. So there's every bit of reason to be proud of this team, even through the adversity. But that just speaks to the depth, and just makes you say, what if all these guys are back? Where will we be, or where are we going to be? Because at some point, the Twins are going to start to compete. I don't know how far they're going to be back before they do that. Cleveland is always there. We're only 2.5 games in front of them. But it's going to be scary, and I don't say this as a White Sox fan. I say this as a baseball person at this point. You're going to have your Yankees, and you're going to have your Astros. You're going to have your San Diegos. You're going to have good teams. But to think about this White Sox team, and I don't put too much stock in the Boston Red Sox right now. I think they're overachieving at the end of the day. I think that division belongs to the Yankees and the Rays. But I wholeheartedly think that once the White Sox get key guys back, and I'm not just talking about, average guys. These are potential stars. Stars. Once they get those guys back, then look out. I mean, they're going to really hit the stratosphere.
I mean, basically, they doing what the Cubs did in 2016. I mean, they winning games like they did yesterday, like those games that like they snuck up and won that way. And those type of games like that down the line will mean a lot more because those games that you didn't let get away. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, that's when you look at what Jose Abreu brings to this team. Not only is he good at, not only, and Frank Thomas he said this last week, missed 6-game winning streak. He said Jose Abreu made 3 plays in one game defensively that were better than anything he did in his whole career. That came out of Frank Thomas' mouth. So I'm not even exaggerating that. And then for this guy to get in this collision, begged to play in the second game, the doubleheader, did not play, but he begged to play in it. Then he came back. He hit a home run the very next day. And then in the last game of the series, he took off on a wild pitch, came home and scored something out of the book of Ricky Henderson or Jackie Robinson Jr. Came home and scored, avoided the tag. I mean, it was just something that it was reminiscent of 1983 winning ugly White Sox, the year I became a fan. It was that. And Tony La Russa was the manager then. So you're seeing a culture change with this team. The talent is, in my opinion, and I'm not bragging or anything, but it's just the baseball analogy. The talent is nowhere near where they're projected to be. How could they when Kopech and Jimenez has been hurt for extensive time since they've gotten here? So it's going to be exciting times, man. I know we joke about it. It's the fun part of the rivalry. And I've given the Cubs credit by saying that if guys hit for average, then they're going to be right there. They're hovering around 500, so they have an opportunity to break out as well. So it's going to be fun, man. This is a fun baseball town, fun baseball season, lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, you've been checking out the Sox, or you've been following what's going on with the Sox?
Oh, I definitely have been. I'm a Cubs fan through and through, but I've been watching the White Sox here and there, seeing what they've done. Especially I watched them against the Twins series, and to come out and to make a statement like that against the Twins, which we all know that the Twins are a team that comes back and starts to play. But to put a little bit of room on them now and sweep them in the series, that's huge. That's basically saying that, hey, you know what? Even with injuries that we do have, we're going to battle. And I think that sent a loud statement to everybody in baseball, saying that, hey, the White Sox now, they're looking to go farther, and then they're making statements along the way. So, and then, I think that's huge for the city of Chicago. I think it's huge for White Sox fans as we go on through the season, that we're going to look back at this, because that series could be something later down the road that if, the Twins make that comeback and it comes down to a last series, the White Sox have that room now where they just swept them, and it could come back in the end to help the White Sox out dramatically. And I'm happy for the White Sox. My brothers, my dad, some of my friends are White Sox fans, and I'm happy for them. You know what I mean? Like, they're out there with these youngsters, and they're proving that, hey, we can ball with the big boys.
Yeah. Like I said, and like I said earlier, just a minute ago, like those games that you winning like that, like the one from yesterday, because I actually did watch that game, the homework, because I was watching it, and when he slid in, I was like, oh, they winning like the Cubs did in 2016, so that's a good sign, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm checking them out, because we got to do the show, because I want to be in tune what's going on with the Sox as well. So, but I see them making they already making noise, whatever. That it's just the like right now, their record is what, they 23
24 and 15.
So that type of stuff, I mean, they got to just maintain, because if they maintain and some of those players, those key players come back, then I mean, it's gonna take time for them to get in the groove. But you want those key players to come back, and they keep everybody else is stepping up. So the people that normally wouldn't play are playing. So if they go out again and they need to come back in, we're still good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
and I just wanted to say this. I know you're hitting Tim with some questions, but to Tim's point about a probable or possible Twins comeback, I saw a stat that said that in the history of Major League Baseball, at the point when he made this, gave the stat, everybody was 35 games in, and the Twins were 10 games back. only 4 teams in the history of baseball, that means dating back to the late 1800s, only 4 teams have come back after being down 10 games, 35 games into the season. So it's the odds are in the White Sox favor if you want to count those kind of stats.
Yeah.
You're being analytical.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm checking them out, and I'm impressed. I shoot this stuff with you guys or whatever, you know, Sox fan or whatever. But I mean, this is the first time I actually really paid attention to both teams. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, like I said, we doing a show and things like that, and then before the season even started, I told you I'm gonna start watching this. Like, but then you was like, "No, we don't need no more. We don't need no more." But I was like, "Watch them anyway." You know what I'm saying? Just watch them anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, but when your key players got went out, got hurt or whatever, like, damn, that's gonna mess them up. So, but like I said, hopefully everybody maintained it and your pitcher's still looking good. So, I mean, I think they got a chance to make some noise. I mean, they making it not right now, catching a lot of people by surprise, but we look at the second half and see what everybody catch up, you know what I'm saying, what they doing, like they did the Cubs like in 2016. Somebody just put out something with their, I don't know who actually posted up there though. It said no hitters and clutch wins always a part of the championship team. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not looking at I don't have my phone, so I can't see who's commenting. But they're right. And that's like 1983 winning uglies, White Sox. Tony Russo, I was watching one of the post-game shows, and I thought this was extremely high praise when Tony Russo himself, and I put it in the group, 3-time World Series manager, Hall of Fame manager, he asked him in the post-game about Jose Abreu after he came home and scored. He said, "What else?" He said, "What more can I say about Jose Abreu? To me, he stands next to Albert Pujols." No, he said he stands next to Albert. And I thought to myself, who he's talking about? Fat Albert? What Albert is he talking about?
Right.
But he's talking about Albert Pujols. I mean, that's extremely high praise, man. I mean, he has one MVP under his belt, and he's in the midst of 8-game hitting streak right now. So who knows? He could repeat as MVP and have as many MVPs as Albert Pujols has. So when Tony La Russa, and he's an old man, and he has he has his spirits that he likes to drink, and if Tony La Russa talks, you have to listen to him, what he's saying. So, hey, who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. When you post out there, like, oh, this dude at it again. He just try to, if that's going to encourage, the team or whatever, and encourage that player, why not? I mean, you do all you can to get your team going. So, regardless of what I think or what the fans think or what anybody think, if that's getting that coach or getting those players, okay, he gave me that much praise, so let me go out there and prove him right. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. That's good. You know. So while we at it right now, still talking about baseball because this is going to take a second because the Cubs, like I said, we 19-20, but we still 3 games back. So we're not completely out of it. We hanging on right now. So I think they still need that starting pitcher, but they have the tools to make a trade to get a good pitcher, but your tools that you got could also hurt your offense. If they trade Bryant, he's actually keeping them in the game because he got like 10 RBI, I mean 10 RBI, but 10 home runs right now. So if you get rid of him and get you you're not gonna get a big time pitcher. You're gonna have to go in the farm system, whoever farm system that you trade him to, and work that way. So I mean, right now, like they in 4th place right now. I'm not looking for them to do too much this year. Just really watching them just because I'm a Cubs fan. But Tim, what you think about what's going on with your Cubs, man? What you think they need to do?
It's not time yet to hit the panic button and blow everything up. I think they're still right there where they can make a push. I think going closer to the trade deadline, if they fall back anywhere, saying about 10, 12 games back, I think then you start to maybe break the team up and send guys in the trades to get younger ball players in here, prospects. But I don't know. The Cubs are one of those teams that this year in baseball is they look like they're not so there, but they surprise you sometimes, especially with Chris Bryant and stuff like that. And we got to remember, Javi Baez hasn't even got hot yet either. So it's give or take. If they can hit a hot streak, they can be right there with St. Louis in the end, and it's still there for the Cubs, but as Cubs fans right now, it's a wait and see, and we take it game by game and to see
towards
where
the end,
we're
because
really
when the
at,
trade deadline come, you'll figure where they at. Do they make the move? Do they, buyers or sellers or whatever? But because if they still in the mix of things, as a Cub fan, if they still in the mix of things, it's still like 3 games back or 2 games back. What do you do? What do you do with your team? Because a lot of the players are free agents, like Bryant, Rizzo. What do you start parting ways still, regardless, because they're not going to be there next year, or what you do?
No. I think if you're sitting 2 games out of winning the division, or if you're a half a game out of making the wild card, I think you go all in. I think that you move pieces around to see what you get in return and to see where it takes you. Because again, if you look at any sports team, it's the core unit that maintains, that keeps teams where they're at. And I think the Cubs' core unit, we all know, is Rizzo, Baez, Contreras, and Bryant. If they're there, I say you become buyers. You go get the pieces you need to make a playoff run. If you're not there, then you explode the team, and you bring in the younger talent and you rebuild. Like the White Sox did, like the San Diego Padres have, and we restart over again. But again, it's where do we sit when the trading deadline comes? Because that's the main question is if we're still sitting 3 games out, why not make the run for it? Why not go get these pieces? And basically you're getting rental players for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? So money's going to come off the books. Guys are going to be free agents. Then you basically make that decision at the end of, am I going to resign this guy? Am I going to move on from this guy? But again, it's all wait and see.
Especially with the Cubs, like I said, the baseball. This is the first time, like I said, I didn't, even when they won the championship, they caught me by surprise because I really wasn't paying attention to what was going on until like going into the All-Star. That's why I started really watching them, because I was like, they playing good or whatever. So it's a wait and see. Like I said, we wait till the All-Star break and see where they at, and then we just take it from there.
He made a good point with the renting a player or not. That's going to determine how the core guys it spoke of are going to receive this team. Is that going to be enough to get them resigned? Because remember, in the offseason, the talk was, is this team going to be broken up? Are guys coming back? Is this it? Is this the end of the run? So you're right. If you're right there, you determine if you're going to become buyers or sellers. And if you're in the thick of it, hey, we got to, whatever prospects we have, let's get them, let's trade them, and let's get some pitching in here. Let's get whatever we need in here. But here's the extremely good news for the Cubs on the opposite end of that. If they're not in contention, let's say by the end of June, they're 8-9 games back. Those core guys who probably won't be here anyway, you're going to get a tremendous haul for those guys. That's the great news. And you're not that you already know the blueprint. You know that rebuilding works. It works. If you're winning one championship every 10 years, that's a great ratio. That's nothing to be ashamed of. But the next time you get the rebuild, spend the money, sign these guys long term. If that happens, if you can get prospects for Baez and Contreras and Bryant, you're right there. You're right back there. You're going to get 4 or 5 guys for each of them. You're right back there. That is the real beauty of baseball. Like because baseball, you got $300 million guys now. So if this guy is that great and you want to pay him, then okay, let's trade him before he walks. And we're going to get back 4 prospects. That's the beauty of baseball. So you're never really out of it. You're just reloading, right, so to speak. So it's a great problem to have, actually, especially in the big market like Chicago. So,
we'll just see what happens. Anything, when it goes down, it goes down. Like I said, and we going into May, going into June. So that's when the thicker things start to happen. When these, this when you start, like you said, Baez is not hitting right now. So when he started to hit, we'll see where they at then. You know what I'm saying? So it's a wait and see type of thing. So let's get into talking about the our beloved Bears. They just had the rookie training camp that just passed this past weekend. A lot of good stuff coming out of there. You got rookies. The They're looking good. I mean, from what I heard, the wide receiver Dez Newman, he's been a talk what's going on right now from the camp. So, I mean, have you guys heard anything that you like? What's going on?
Basically, a lot of great reviews about Justin Fields and how he understands the offense and he's making the right reads and right, even though they're not doing live like practices and going against other people and stuff, but a lot of people have said that he put the ball on the money. He's reading things quick. He gets the ball to the receivers, even though again they're not being guarded and not contested. I agree. Cedric Anderson said a lot of speed on the offense, which he's absolutely right. That's going to be a lot of speed. It's not really something to determine yet if Justin Fields is going to be the day one quarterback for the Bears. Again, it's rookie camp. It's getting these guys accustomed to what's going to happen and what they're going to see. I heard one story came out of it that the lineman they grabbed in the 5th round, Boren or something like that, he lost 30 pounds coming into this from 352 to 322 and saying he feels lighter on his feet. His footwork was good. And both tackles looked amazing, just again, going through the routines and stuff like that, getting their, their feet under them as they go into getting ready for OTAs and training camp coming up in July. But I think that, the picture that you had just posted with them all taking pictures, right there, that's team camaraderie. You know what I mean? From day one, they're all sitting there, all taking pictures, together. That shows you right there. And that's the 7 they drafted. And they all looked good from the highlights that I saw on ChicagoBears.com. And some of the guys that were first year guys that, that they brought back to train with the team. And to me, I was happy with what I saw and from the highlights and, Nagy praised a lot of them. You know what I mean? They went out there and they worked.
Yeah.
So is it things to come that we can be excited for as Bears fans? Hell yeah.
What's going on with you, Mark? What you saw from the past weekend?
Well, you just got to echo what Tim is saying. Yeah, there's a ton of speed, but you got a lot of, even though Justin Fields is not going to start, you got a lot of day one starters on this team. And even though we have Andy Dalton, who's going to be our starter, let's kind of put this in a perspective. Andy Dalton is not Cade McNown, not gross. It's not bad, and I don't mean gross, but he's not a gross player. He's not terrible. Personally, I would have kept Trubisky rather than go with Andy Dalton. That didn't happen. Only because Trubisky is a better runner. He's not here. He's gone. Fine. We've turned that chapter. But Andy Dalton is not bad. He's not great. He'll be serviceable and serve the point until Justin Fields, again, I think Justin Fields is a day one starter, but he's going to serve the purpose of getting him ready. And I think what Andy Dalton would really mean to this team is, in practice, in training camp, the conversations that he and Justin Fields will have. Because Andy Dalton is not this 2-16 quarterback every year or 2-14 quarterback every year. He's had some decent starts. He's had some decent years. Nowhere near Tom Brady, but I think he's going to serve the purpose of just getting there. While Justin Fields in the proverbial bullpen warming up. But you got to be excited about what's happening, man. I mean, everybody's like, the big question is Justin Fields going to start now? You've already nipped that in the bud. He's not going to be the starter. How are our O-linemen doing? Are they coming on? Are they grasping onto the speed of the game? Our rookie O-linemen that we drafted. That, to me, is a big story because that's one of the things that even had we not drafted a quarterback, drafting who we drafted satisfied me. Yeah. Justin Fields is gravy. The best gravy you ever had. Chicken gravy, beef. He's gravy.
Yeah.
Getting the O-lineman that we got, that was the plug we need. So you got the question is, can the season start next week? You got to be excited for it.
Well, I mean, can't rule out the fact that he probably be the day one starter because I was listening to the listen to the score, and Nagy was saying, I mean, it's not out of the question. It's not.
He's confirmed it though. He's going to listen. Matt Nagy doesn't want to look like a heel. He doesn't want to be discouraging to the rookie, so he's gonna leave a little room. I mean, it's just not going to be, even if he wants to start Justin Fields, they're not going to let him. So he's not making that call. He's going to be the one to announce it, but that's not his decision. I firmly believe that's a Pace decision. They're not going to put him out there now. That's not going to happen.
Okay, through the training camps or whatever, the training camps, hold on one second. Through the training camps and everything, let's just say Justin Fields is picking it up like that, just picking it up like that, and Dalton is having a little issue, whatever. I mean, because he's Nagy said that we'll know when he's ready. So knowing that he's ready, going through the training camp and going through the games or whatever, if he picks everything up perfectly, do you still start him or do you bring him off the bench?
No. You got to remember that, you know, there's still another quarterback there named Nick Foles.
Unfortunately,
and, you know, as right now, you know, yeah, Justin Fields is the number 3 unless the Bears move Nick Foles. But at the same time, if Justin Fields is picking it up, but you got to remember when the Bears are going to put him out there in training camp and in the preseason is going to be against third string guys, the guys looking to make the team. So he's going to look adequate and look better than a lot of other people. You know, Dalton's going to be starting against the number 1s, even though the number 1s may not play a lot. The speed of the number 1s from a starter to a practice squad guy is a tremendous difference. They look at those guys that are on the practice squad and the third string guys, and they say, okay, you're adequate enough to make the team, to play special teams, to be a backup, compared to a guy like, you know, we're going night 1, and me personally, I would love to see Justin Fields start game 1 of the season and tear it up. But at the same time, we got to bring it down. The reality is we're seeing Aaron frickin' Donald game 1, and that man is an animal to handle. And I don't want to throw the kid into the fire and say, hey, you got to run away from this guy. Andy Dalton, I guess, again, it's, you know, but if injuries happen and he picks it up and we see him continue to get better, it's a possibility going into at the end of preseason to say, hey, do we give him the shot or do we stick with Andy Dalton? But as of right now, I think you stick with Andy Dalton, and you see where Andy Dalton takes us. Because you got to remember,
absolute best scenario. I don't even think the conversation goes on even further. The Aaron Donald thing, close the door on it. Prime time, Sunday night, throwing him like into the fire or into the lion's den, either one of those analogies, you don't want to do that. Not on Sunday night against the Rams. No, you don't want to do it.
Well, what I was just thinking, because we're gonna go to the next the segment. What I was thinking, and I said last week that they were saying what probably ended up happening. They probably use him in certain situations of the game. You know what I'm saying? As far as like 3rd and 3, like I said, like the New Orleans Saints used the other guy. The way they use him. So
Taysom Hill. You can't do that with Justin Fields because, again, if this is the Detroit Lions or the Minnesota Vikings or, you know, not even the Cleveland Browns, like let's say the Jacksonville Jaguars, is something you do. You have Aaron Donald, who's back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year, standing across from you, who demands double teams, and if you leave him one-on-one with a O-lineman, he wins that battle 99.9% of the time. And if he's faced on a one-on-one with Justin Fields, I'm sorry, I'm a diehard Bears fan, and I bleed the orange and blue, but Aaron Donald's going to win that fight because he's a man amongst boys when he's out there. And I just don't want to see that. I'd rather see him maybe, you know, destroy Andy Dalton, you know, so we can see Justin Fields, but I wouldn't do that against a team like that. I think you got to roll with what offense you're rolling out there with Andy Dalton. But at the same time, Rams have to get ready for our defense. That we're going to be stronger. We got Eddie Goldman back. Where everybody's healthy. Yeah, we're missing out on Kyle Fuller right now, but I think this defense is going to look a hell of a lot better this year because I'm liking everything that this new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and they can't wait to play for him either. So the defense should be much better than it was last year. One more segment. One more conversation with this one. Anthony Miller, he's not on the trading block. Nagy was saying that he talked with Anthony Miller over the summer. Over the winter and things like that when the season end. And he's praising them. Mm-hmm. So with the competition with the at the wide receiver position, I think they got like at least about 7 to 10 wide receivers because they actually put up a couple of wide receivers in free agency, just on walk-ons. So what do you think would take for Anthony Miller to be with the Bears the beginning of the season? Let's start with you, Marcus.
Throw that one to Tim.
Okay, let's go, Tim.
Let's see. Anthony Miller's got to get out of his own mind, get out of his own head, pick his head out of his ass. Whatever scenario you want to use, synopsis you want to use in his situation is you have to come perform. You've had too many opportunities, too many drop balls, easy catches where you've made drops and then punching a guy in the playoff game doesn't help your, where you stand. I think that he's not in the trading block because I don't think there's a lot out there right now because a lot of teams are just getting accustomed with their rookies and sign-ons. But this is a make or break year if we keep Anthony Miller. You basically already lost your number 2 job to Mooney. We picked up Marquise Goodwin. We have Ridley. We have Wims. The Newsome, the kid we just picked up. We got St. Ives. I know there's a couple other kids we picked up, but this is the time for you to produce and to get on the same page and become that slot receiver where a lot of people, when he came out of the draft, where they've compared him to an Antonio Brown. Let's see that now. You've had enough time in this offense. The offense. Now it's time to pick it up. It's all about how, like we talked with Kobe White, we need the consistency. If that ball hits you in the hands, catch the damn thing. Don't pop it up and let somebody pick it and then want to punch a guy. But we got a good offense, and we got good running backs. We got, what's his name back right now? I know, rest in peace to his brother.
Tyree Cohen.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Got him back. We got Cole Kmet. We're still on the hinge about what we're doing with Jimmy Graham. I wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy Graham stay with this team and him and Cole Kmet be that 1-2 combo, but Anthony Miller, if this is your year to make it or to break it, if the Bears are giving you one more opportunity, you take it with a grain of salt and you go out there and you bust your ass.
I think also with these receivers, do you think it's a setup just in case? Well, because all things happen to receivers all the time, but is it a setup just in case the following season, not this year, that they let Allen Robinson go and they trying to see what else they got out there? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's the issue with? Well, that's not issue, but do you think that's why they got all these receivers now?
This could be a transitional season.
No,
to see those to see what you got at the receiver position, since you're not sure what your quarterback is long term, as far as Andy Dalton being there now. And I threw that one to Tim because I knew he could go more in depth in that with the Anthony Miller question than I could. But to answer what you just asked, putting these receivers out there now, I think it kind of, even though we're in a win now window with the defense, you still get to see what you have with various receivers. And by the time you get Justin Fields out there, whether that's in the second half of the season, you pretty much know what you have with the receivers and which direction you're going to go.
Well, like I said, they got him drafting a receiver. And we can't forget about Raleigh. They still got that guy. He's still on the team from the draft. They drafted him like last year. I think it was last year. Ridley. I'm sorry, Ridley. He's still out there. So they still have things.
That's the guy I've been waiting. That's the guy I've been wanting to see because we all see what his brother does up in Atlanta and what his brother did in Alabama. The kid is an amazing stuff. When he came out and clearly said, my brother runs better routes than I do and can pinpoint and jump and get the ball. Why? Why wouldn't you want to listen to a guy like that who's over there killing it in Atlanta? So that's the guy I really want to see. I want them to give him the opportunity, and I think that he's going to come along. But if Allen Robinson has another great year and puts up the numbers, you have to sign him long term. You have to. There's no, oh well, we can wait in the draft.
I think the same thing. I mean, if he comes out and give it all, but like I said, these receivers is clink. These rookie receivers and these receivers are clinking on to Justin Fields right now. So you got to see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Oh yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do. But again, it's the speed of the game is totally different for these rookies. If like we said in the past, Mahomes had a city year, Rodgers had 4 years. It's just you got to get these guys ready and bring them into the right point. Not do what they did with Trubisky and bring him in game 3 of the season, and all of a sudden the shitstorm.
Now let's go transition. We're going to transition over to you got something, Marcus?
I was going to say before you switched up. Tim brought it out again. Another because we hadn't talked about it before. I don't think it's worthy of a segment, but we do want to give condolences to Tyreek Cohen and his family. I think it was his twin brother.
Yeah, that
they found deceased. So shout out to him, and
twin brother.
Peace and condolences to that family, man. And because that could be, and particularly if you're twins, that could be a mental aspect. So we hope that's not the case. Not just for the sake of him performing well as a Bears player for our enjoyment, but you just want to wish that family a lot of peace and make sure their well-being is okay. So shout out to them. Blessings to the family.
Good way to acknowledge that, Marcus and Tim, and like I said, condolences as well. Let's get into the our beloved Bulls. The season ended yesterday. Season ended yesterday. We didn't want it to end, but it did end. They had no control of it. They had to do what they had to do, and they did it to an extent. But now that the season is over with, before we start that, shout out to Tony Kukoc for making it to the Hall of Fame. We wanted to start it off with that before we get into the Bulls, the current Brewers segment or whatever. He made the Hall of Fame. Me personally, I didn't think he should have, but I mean, but he made it. So he played for the Chicago Bulls. So I take it in. More Bulls making the Hall of Fame make us a good city. So what you guys think when you heard that Tony Kukoc made the Hall of Fame?
Why not? Remember, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame; it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So there was a reason why Jerry Krause pursued him so hard. He was they called him the Croatian sensation. He was a phenom over there, much like Yao Ming, who, if you just base his career, his Hall of Fame induction by NBA, you say, hey, wait, no, maybe it doesn't go. But even with Kukoc, and when he got to the NBA, he was 3-time world champion. But what I want to, because people could say, well, Robert Horry should be in. And
I said that.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
I just don't know that if you take Shaq or Tim Duncan or Kobe off any of those teams, that Robert Horry becomes the guy that Kukoc was when Jordan retired. Kukoc was vital in the 1994 season. There is no question about it. They called him the waiter for a reason, man. The guy was basically a 7-foot point guard who could dribble, who could pass, who could shoot.
Yeah.
And he anchored, and a lot of people don't remember this. The third year of the second three-peat, Dennis Rodman was not a starter. Tony Kukoc was, and Tony Kukoc was huge. And even when Pip was walking dead with the bad back, Tony Kukoc was huge. So I think
I got you.
In its totality, when you hey, Dennis Johnson, he's a Hall of Famer. He was a Finals MVP in 1979 in Seattle, but he's won some championships. I think that, except for the Finals MVP, Kukoc has a similar resume to Maurice Cheeks, who won one championship. He's in the Hall of Fame. Shout out to Maurice Cheeks. His mother was our teacher, right?
Right. No doubt.
Great guy. I don't see what I mean. In my opinion, now I have a super tough criteria. I don't think these guys should be in the Hall of Fame, but the philosophy is if some guys are, then he should be.
Yeah.
I'm one of the ones, might be in the minority. Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, They're not Hall of Famers to me. They're not. You had a 4 to 5 year stretch as a high flying scorer, but what did you win? Did you take your team to what did you win? You're telling me let's not even mention Michael Jordan. Skip him. Get him out of there. You're telling me that Tracy McGrady sits under the same roof for the rest of the time as Moses Malone, as Charles Barkley, as Magic Johnson, as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Vince Carter. No, it does not mix. So if it's my criteria, you have to have a heavy haul to get under that roof. But based on who's there, in my opinion, this is well deserved for Tony Kukoc.
You think it's more popularity than actually play?
Well, because again, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, and he's won championships over there. At the level that he was expected to do. Now, when he played against the '92 Dream Team, you saw the difference in how far apart they were. Yeah. They stick the dogs on him and they dismantled him. But when he got here, he caught on and he still won 3 championships. So again, by the standards of other guys who probably shouldn't be in there, Tony Kukoc should be in.
No, that's what I said. I was saying, do you think it's popularity that Vince Carter and them and
absolutely
got
absolutely.
Okay. What you think, Tim?
For Dirk Nowitzki, you never really saw, a guy like that. Like you had your Detlef Schrempfs, your Arvydas Sabonises, you had guys like that. But if you look at it, out of the European ball players that came over to play in the NBA, he has the most championships coming in as an NBA player from overseas. He did a lot for the Bulls. He was huge in that '94 year, that the year Jordan was gone, because it was him and Pippen that was basically doing what they needed to do to get to where they were against the New York Knicks. I know Pippen had a lot of problems with him getting the ball at the last second to shoot shots and stuff, but he played an integral role. And Marcus is right. That third season of the second repeat, he did start, and he played a big role, and it was the part of that triangle offense to spread teams out, so Jordan can still drive and Pippen can do their thing. And he was quiet. He was a quiet assassin at that time. And I think that Tony Kukoc is deserving to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Not only being probably the greatest Croatian player to ever come out of Croatia, he won multiple championships over there. And you got to remember that '92 Dream Team, that first time they played Croatia, Jordan and Pippen gave Kukoc the business. But if you remember the second time they played him, Tony Kukoc showed out and I think dropped 31 on them, if I remember straight, and showed them that, hey, they even said it in the series, hey, when this kid came out the second game and started putting up points, it showed us something. And the Bulls were on him on the radar, and Krause went and got him. And he's very deserving of it, because if guys are making it in on popularity, that's probably what the new norm is. But you know what I mean? Like I always thought when you made the Hall of Fame, is numbers spoke on to get into the Hall of Fame is the numbers you produced. Sometimes they brought championships into it, MVPs, all this other stuff, and y'all
just convinced me. So. Because first I was like, nah, how did he make it? But you guys just convinced me or whatever. I didn't think of it. I was more like thinking like Tony Kukoc. I was like, how he make it or whatever? Because I was thinking of Yao Ming, because I thought Yao Ming got praised for us. It was overpraised to me. I don't think
what? As the saying goes, you can basically argue anything in life. You can pick a side. There are many criteria in which you can be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And if bringing half a civilization to the game's attention, if you can do that, then why not? It's your contribution to the game. Doesn't mean your statistical contribution to the game. In China, basketball was played in China, but it was like, nah, we can do without it. When you bring the attention nationally to your country, and basketball ascends, and that particular sport ascends to like the top of your culture, and you got enough people voting to keep Shaquille O'Neal from starting in consecutive seasons, there's no way in the world Yao Ming was ever better than Shaquille O'Neal. Never. But he started because, and China has more people in its country than anybody. He brought the attention to their national focus. So he made that contribution. Was he a Hall of Fame player? He was solid. but his contribution was not stats. His contribution was the awareness. It's like it was the global awareness, just like Michael Jordan. But we know Jordan had the game, but Jordan globalized basketball. So his contributions is multifaceted. But Yao Ming's takes play in addition to globalizing the game in that hemisphere, in that part of the world. I say, why not? Dennis Johnson is in. That's my go-to example. Dennis Johnson is in. Why not? Rest in peace, Dennis Johnson. I'm sorry. Rest in peace. But he's in. Why not? Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the Bulls action. I mean, they finished the season on 31-40. Do you think this was what do you consider this season? A bust or how can I say? Not a success, because I don't think it was a bust. I think it was more like I don't know what word to use. I mean, what words you guys got for the season?
I say one to build on. I don't say it's a bust. I don't say it's a success. I say it's a building block. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Clearly
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, clearly, you had how many games Zach was out? 10.
Yeah.
And then 1 or 2 games he and Vooch was out. That's over 50-something points. You had Kobe struggling to be a natural point guard. Should he come off the bench? Should he be a shooting guard? You had all these little different things. You had marketing who was, what are you going to be? You're going to be year one marketing. Are you going to be, can you get your stock up so we can trade you? You had all these little things. You had the new coach running around the culture. I say if we can get to 33 wins, that would be great for us. I think we got 31. But if you count some of the games that we lost early in the season, whether they were taken away from us, but that officiating, we blew, we made 1 or 2 plays down the stretch that blew it. We were growing. We were starting to acclimate ourselves to the way of our new head coach.
Right.
Take all those little things and say, okay, that's a lot that actually went on. And the biggest thing was the trade. You get 5 new guys that you had to get into this offense and get on the floor. That took us back, amazingly enough. Back then, we never hit the groove. We won here and there. I still think this team is much better on paper than it was than what we showed. So the difference now is that solid point guard, that 16 and 9 point guard. If we get that, we are easily a 4 or 5 seed, maybe higher, because what comes after that is landing a big free agent. So I think we're on the right path. Just because you didn't make the playoffs, and that is always the goal, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a failure.
Right.
You're still amidst the rebuild.
Right. What you got, Tim?
I could say not only building block, but I could say trial and error. You wanted to see. Did you have some questions? Yes. Were they answered? Yes. Are there things that need to still be done? Yes. And I think that this is a building block on a year of first year coaching Donovan, first year with AK. You know what I mean? Like, so bringing in what he did and then making the trade, because you got to remember when they made that trade, they really didn't have a chance to practice all together. Because the whole COVID, everything, and the rules and how it was. So I think that it's trial and error, because you found out the trial of later in the season picking up the trades and then seeing where these 5 guys that you brought in brand new fit. And they fit the pieces well. Not perfectly, but well. It's something to build off of that, because now you have to make the decisions of, do you keep these? Do you keep, Thaddeus Young? You also, at the beginning of the season, you wanted to see where Kobe White was at, and you wanted to see where, Markkanen were at. And you wanted to see where Williams was, the rookie, was at. I think you got the answers that you wanted from out of Kobe White. He's inconsistent. I think he needs a point guard there to learn from and to understand the game better, and to come off the bench and or start, depends on what kind of point guard they get. I think you got the questions answered about Markkanen. Was he going to be Markkanen of year one, which was no. Is it time to move on from him? Yes. We've gave him ample enough opportunities. He didn't do. Williams, we all saw at the beginning of the season, the kid, we're like, oh my God, this kid is amazing. And Marcus Pope, said it last week. He scored more points per game and more rebounds per game than what Kawhi Leonard did when he was a rookie. So we have something to build off, but I think that they kind of held him back there at the end. And I think they should have just like, hey, it's end of the season. Let the leash off the kid, take the leash off, see what he's capable of so you can build from that too to see where he fits in on that starting five for next year. Is he going to be that guy so you're not looking for a small forward or a power forward, that he can be that guy? And I think that's another question that should be answered going into next season. But I think, again, I think it was a trial and error season, and I'm actually pretty damn proud of what they did starting off. And a few games early in the season, they lost on some controversial stuff, some calls, some bad plays. Maybe we're 2-3 wins out of making the playoffs this year. But I think this is a start. And I think that going into next year, and I agree with Marcus, said we get the point guard to 16-9, and we bring in that big free agent, and that now solidifies this team, and you get your bench squad together. And then this next year, you're going for that, 1 through 4 seed in the East, and possibly even being the number 1 seed, because I'm not going to lie. After watching a lot of games this year, Philly doesn't impress me at all. The Bucks don't impress me. Yeah, at all. Brooklyn is a scary team because of the 3. But again, it's another team that's not that impressive. You know what I mean? Like, they're not wow, but they're a team that's going to be hard to beat in a 7-game series. But after that, there's not really much there. And even in the West, not a lot of teams, wowed me this year.
I was going to get into that too. I was going to talk about that too, the playing game. But let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, but again, it's the why not? Why can't the Bulls become something that we all were accustomed to back in the 90s, watching those 6 years of dominance, let alone, hell, we'll even say from 90 when they lost to the Pistons, that dominance that they had that was up and coming, that took us all the way into 2000. And a couple years we had off with Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler. But then we saw it again when they drafted Derrick Rose and they brought in the pieces there. And then, unfortunately, injuries happened and whatnot. We're close to getting back to that. And I think a full off season with some major moves.
That's a good way to bring in this segment, because Marcus posted this up about Bradley Beal. I mean, what you think it'll take to get Bradley Beal? Because, I mean, personally, I don't think they could use him. And I ain't going to say that they don't need him, because that's that third best player. I mean, not third best player, but that's your big 3 right there. You know what I'm saying? But what did it take to get him? I think it'd take, if they get the 4th pick, it'll take that 4th pick. It'll take Kobe White, and it'll take future picks. Do you go out to Bradley Beal this offseason? If you can get him, do you go all out and get it?
What? Why not? What kind of question is that? Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think Kobe White's I don't think Kobe White would be a part of the package, because you got to remember, Washington still has Russell Westbrook. I think marketing plays a key piece in that. I think, the 4th pick in the draft, that they get it, or whatever pick, they land from Orlando. And I think maybe another future 1st-round pick lands Bradley Beal. But at the same time, I still think you need to go get a point guard, because Bradley Beal can be the 2, Levine can play the 3, Williams can play the 4,
so you run
and
it?
then you got Vujovic. That's how I'd run it. So I'd run it. Like, hell, who's going to stop that? Yeah. Because Patrick Williams can guard the big guys. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He's 6'8", 6'9". He can play that role, because nowadays you look at the power forwards, they're all stretch fours pretty much anyways. You know what I mean? They're not going to go down there and bang and like back in the days when you had Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, and all those guys. Nowadays, these guys are shooting 3-pointers and think they can dribble like point guards.
You actually? I mean, yeah, they do need a point guard, but because I was going to go back to Williams, because he played the biggest. He played against the LeBrons. He had to take out those big name players during the season. The LeBrons, the KDs. You know what I'm saying? He had to play against those players. So, and today, Zach LaVine offered him and Kobe to come practice with him over the summer. So if they do that, if those 3 get together over the summer, I think it's gonna cause for people to really look and see what's going on because Zach LaVine is a workaholic. You know what I'm saying? So, but bringing in Bill, I don't think is a bad idea. I think it's a good idea. If they could pull it, pull it. You know what I'm saying? But if you bring in a Bradley Bill, I go back to once again the Derrick Rose thing because he's not gonna ask for the $20 million a year. You could get him for $12 million. So you add him to the mix of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think you own to something. Now you can't double team nobody on the floor at all. So to that aspect of it, I will pull it. If you could pull Derrick Rose with that deal, I mean, not a deal, but bring him in still for $12 million a year, why not?
You'd have to do a three-way. You'd have to do a three-way trade for something like that, and I'd be all for it because Derrick Rose would give you 16 and 8, 16 and 7, something like that, which is exactly what you need. And going back to
probably more than that because now you got a center that could score. Bradley Beal could score. He probably averaged like 12 assists a game.
Possibly, potentially, he could, but you only need him to give you 16 and 9, and that will be the perfect starting 5. And I would start him. Forget about that Derrick Rose come off the bench stuff. I'm over that. Start him. He's a former MVP. He knows how to. He knows how to his rhythm. He knows what he needs to do. He needs to pump the gas. Start him. I don't care because in doing so, you're going to be giving Kobe Bryant,
Kobe White,
rest in peace. Right. You're going to be giving Kobe White a great lesson. Why not start him? Why not start him? Even if you gave Kobe the bulk of the time, Derrick Rose can start and finish games. But going back to the Bill and LaVine thing. Who cares about positions anymore these days? Put them out there.
Right.
It's an up and down league. Just go. Give me a big 3 in Vooch, Zach, and Bill. Let's go. I do think that the package, if we